I'm gonna take this truck and put that lawnmower in the back of it and then take it on home. It is actively overfilling the front tank. So definitely the return line goes back to the front tank. And now that I switched it back over to the front tank, it is no longer pushing too much fuel into the front tank. Okay, I'm not quite sure what the best way to do this is, but I have a chain wrapped around a log, shoved in there, and hopefully this will pick it up high enough to get it in there. But we're gonna first just lift it up and see if that clears. No dice. Okay, I think the metal rods will try to pick up this side. The chain will do something on this side, and it might be enough this time. It's up and it's high enough. Okay, I picked it up. Then, although I'm forklift certified and probably could have got it in, I moved the truck around and backed it to the lawnmower or something, but they're very bent. This worked well. It's up. So now I just gotta undo that chain and shove it in. Okay, I just drove your truck back from B&B to Ann's house. I put 2.5 gallons in the rear tank at B&B. Drove it to the gas station right next to B&B. Put only 2 gallons into the front tank because it was already full. The front tank was already full. I could only put 2 gallons of gas in it. I put 10 gallons of gas in the rear tank. I drove it from B&B to Ann's. Once I got on the back road near IGA to go to Ann's house, I put it in cruise control. And in cruise control, I did 40 miles an hour or 41 miles an hour all the way. At 40 miles an hour, it was hunting gears every once in a while going up and down hills, but it should do that. But it would hunt from overdrive to third, which it all seemed pretty reasonable. The throttle pedal's pretty stiff, kind of like that truck's. I never got on it really hard or anything like that. Roll down 35, air conditioning works. The air conditioner mower does blow. I don't know if it blows cold or not because I had it off the whole time. The radio works. Cruise control works. Wipers work. While I was here loading up the lawnmower in the back of this truck, I let it run the whole time, and I was running it on the rear tank. And while running it on the rear tank, it started pouring fuel out of the front tank. So I switched it to the front tank, and now it's no longer pouring fuel. So I think the return system pulls fuel out of the rear tank, puts it into the fuel rail, and then once the fuel rail is up to pressure, so like 27 psi, it starts bleeding some of that pressure off to not over pressurize the system, and it goes back into just the front tank, and it overfills the front tank. I'm about to drive it back with this lawnmower in the rear. We'll see how well it does then, but I do think it's a bit of a dog. It is rough, but I think with at least a new front tank and maybe a new rear tank, that's it what this truck needs. It does need some tune-up. It doesn't run the perfect with throttle, but I think it'll do fine with cruise control. On this tachometer, the red mark is at 55. So I haven't brought it up to 55 yet, but it's not my truck, so I'm not going to bring it up to 55. I don't really want a dog on it. But I think going slow, this truck is okay. It's not great in town. The brakes are 30 years old and kind of spongy, not great. It will stop the truck, but I wouldn't tailgate anybody in this truck. But yeah, I'll drive it back to the house, and if there's anything that happens in between now and then, I'll make a video of it. So a few more things I remembered. Nothing happened on the drive, but I just drove on the front tank so I wouldn't have to smell gas the whole way. I don't know if this gauge works, and this one never came above where it currently is. So it either is missing a thermostat because it overheated at some point and someone's tried to keep it super cold, or this has no clue how hot it is. Another thing, this seatbelt sometimes doesn't retract, so it's basically useless. And I know you intend to remove the exhaust, but earlier I looked underneath it and this exhaust isn't super crazy loud, but it is quite enough to, well, idling in traffic, bring it back from B&B. I thought it died at one point, gave it a rev, and it wasn't dead, but it was super quiet. I think the leak is probably from the return line or something up on top of the tank, because that's where the fuel is coming from. And it rode better with the lawnmower all the way in the back than when it rode completely empty. Also, that is the receiver hitch. And I think this bend in the receiver hitch from someone definitely overloading the frame is what's making it face down. Oh, you can see it way better over there. That bolt that is facing us is supposed to be facing down. Yeah, I think that's everything I noticed so far. The seatbelt, the gauges, the exhaust I think is okay, and the fuel link is on top of the front tank, and the return system goes to the front tank. The front tank is over full, and the rear tank just gets drained.